I'm Hannah, and this is Firm Foundations. Thank you for watching. In this series, we're learning how to discern the truth about LDS church history and doctrine. The final type of truth I'd like to touch on is quantifiable or scientific truth. This type of truth is the easiest to test and verify. Using the scientific method, we can easily test if-then assumptions, so long as we're careful enough and honest enough to acknowledge our own biases and assumptions throughout the process. In today's world, we can also easily do surveys, look up data, and quantify and compare different types of information. However, with a plethora of sometimes contradictory information so readily available, it is important to remember the Russian proverb, trust but verify. For example, I could make a scientific observation such as, if Nephi was a Middle Eastern Jew, then he migrated and settled to a new area, people still alive in that area would share DNA with other Jewish descendants. Well, I'm not the first person to put forth that hypothesis. In fact, for a while it was used as an argument against the validity of the Book of Mormon. Then easy-to-use DNA tests came along, and lo and behold, there are distinct DNA markers shared by some Native American tribes and people of Jewish heritage. Now, of course, the Nephites who crossed to the Americas didn't remain a pure bloodline throughout the thousands of years between their immigration and the invention of DNA testing. So it's amazing that these genetic markers still exist, tying the two together across continents and millennia. Quantifiable evidence is an amazing way to help build faith, but only if it's used in conjunction with historical evidence and, of course, personal experience. All three types of knowledge are necessary to build a firm foundation to your faith. So, let's review what we've learned about truth. As we study truth, we need to understand that a testimony is a personal truth built out of personal experience, as well as knowledge from outside sources like historical and quantifiable truths. We need to examine our assumptions and be careful to build testimonies based on doctrine, not to build testimonies that are based on opinions or policies of the church, which change frequently. Rather, testimony should be built on a foundation of personal truth that you have discovered through your actions and personal revelation, as well as those historical and quantifiable truths. Renowned LDS historian Dr. Davis Bitton penned a beautiful article entitled, "I Don't Have a Testimony of Church History," which is linked below. In this article, he touches on expectations versus history. Like Dr. Bitton, Dr. Harper, and President Eyring, we can be critical scholars of science or history, as well as faithful Latter-day Saints. As we round out this ramble about truth and testimony, it's important to remember that one reason Joseph sought out a new church is because he believed in continual revelation, and so do we today. Just as Christians at the time of Christ in the New Testament changed by no longer following the law of Moses, and instead replaced that with a newer doctrine brought to them by Christ himself, we have prophets and apostles today who hold the keys necessary to receive revelation. So, what do we do when faced with seemingly conflicting doctrines? There are two things to examine. One, authority. Did your college boyfriend tell you he had a revelation that you were going to get married? He didn't. Turns out he can't receive revelation for you. There are only a handful of people on earth who can receive revelation specific to you, and we'll discuss who those people are and why in a future episode. Number two, timeline. If you face a conflict between a modern church doctrine and an older doctrine or policy, remember this handy little rhyme, newest is truest, and we'll delve more into that in upcoming episodes as well. Thank you for joining us. Firm Foundations is written, researched, and produced by me, Hannah. We are produced and funded by the More Good Foundation, with special thanks in this episode to Rachel Grant. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to subscribe and check us out on social media.